That's BABBEL.com.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place? You know, that spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found something a little different. What if instead of your private stash, you found a simple phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Would you make the call? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/thereishelp.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Alt 2K.
Don't wanna be an American idiot.
A commercial-free look back to alternative from the 2000s. With Foo Fighters, Weezer, Linkin Park, Green Day, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Alt 2K, and listen now. Try something new for 2024. iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
The pounding begins. The wagons are circled. Every wind is raided. It's football time in America, and this republic has never been stronger. The Sportsocracy, Beer City's best sports talk, live from the Ingalls studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and join us in the chat. We're only going to be here for a minute, so that's why I'm talking really fast. Because it has gone snowmageddon outside, and Jeremy's like, I don't think I'm getting out of here at 3 o'clock.
Well, here's the thing. Jeremy lives in a place that ends in mountain. So, sorry. When it starts to snow outside, and the pavement's lit, I can assume that my driveway is turning into a slalom.
So, here's the thing: abbreviated show today. Glad you're all able to join us here in the Sportsocracy, the Democratic Republic of Sports. It is playoff weekend number 2, divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We'll have all the picks for the games coming your way, and then we've got the daily draft as well. And we're going to knock it all out here in the next hour. So, Jeremy, without any further ado, I guess we need to get into these games.
Yes, because we have 4 picks to make, and we got to talk about all the narratives of the game, which we'll do in the second half of the show today. And we got to pick games.
Yes, indeed.
What's the easiest pick of the week?
Easiest pick of the week? Lions Bucks.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. I thought you were going crazy on me for a second. This is the easiest pick of the week. The Detroit Lions are a 6.5-point favorite. I can understand how you'd get to the path of maybe Tampa's plus 6.5 would be a good idea because they have been playing some close games. Maybe a little playoff magic can keep this thing close. Maybe Detroit's not ready to put the hammer down. I don't think any of that's true, though. I don't think Tampa Bay is a good team. I think they beat up on bad teams, as they did last week in their playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles, who had completely gone off the rails. This is a hype train that is not stopping. Detroit's going to be crazy. That stadium's going to be raucous. They are going to abuse us in the passing game.
I think they'll do a pretty good number on you in the running game. But we're good against the run. I'm well aware of that. I've seen one other team run the ball down your throat. You remember who that was?
Who's that?
The Philadelphia Eagles. you know what they have that very few other teams have? A line that's as good or better than Detroit's.
Mm-hmm. I don't think our defense is doing much against the offensive line. I don't think our offensive line is doing much against their defensive line. I look for Aiden Hutchinson to set all his records or whatever that he's going to set this weekend. I just don't.
Now
like
here's
us.
the question. I mean, and this is the question that's burning on the minds of all Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Detroit Lion fans all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
How will the weather affect the game in Detroit this weekend?
Oh.
I mean, it's 13 degrees.
Well,
yeah,
we play in a dome, so
yeah. I really wish Todd Bowles had answered that with, "Well, we practiced in Baker's living room. It's 72, and it's used to disappointment." It's perfect simulation of the conditions in Detroit.
Perfect simulation. The over-under in this game is 49.5.
That feels real high to me.
It doesn't feel real high, but it feels a little high.
It feels real high to me. Anytime we pick games, I haven't checked the Vegas numbers. I'm pulling them up as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
We made the decision of the Great Freeze is not going to lock us both in this room because we're the only two here.
Yes.
And you're like, I ain't getting stranded here with no food because there's no food in this building.
Mm-mm.
So we tapped out. So we're trying to cram a lot into a little. We weren't going to do picks until the next hour, but here we are.
Yep.
I would wager that the under has a lot of action on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if my computer will ever go, I'll tell you. 90% of the money is on the over.
Really?
That's dumb.
I'm going the other way.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I would go the other way on that one. Because unless you see this being 34-21, I don't know how you get there. And I'm not sure.
I don't think Tampa's going to score as much as everybody else does. I really don't. I'll double Mike Evans. Just assume that the connection with Chris Godwin, which has been there for, a game all year?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to beat me. I'll double Mike Evans and dare you to beat me with Cade Otton and Chris Godwin.
Right.
I don't think you can, especially when I neutralize Rashad White, and they will.
Right. All right.
I neutralized Kyron Williams. You think I'm afraid of Rashad White?
You're heavy as well on Detroit minus the 6.5.
Yes, I'm getting nervous that the number's going up, but I don't want it to go over 7 if I can avoid it. If I have to buy it down, I will, but I'll take Detroit minus 6.5 under 49.
Mm-hmm. And we're both going under the 49.5.
Got a prop bet you like for that one?
Oh, I forgot about the prop bet.
Well, I mean, you don't have to. We can.
No, I can throw you.
She's an abbreviated show.
I'm gonna do the easy thing because this is what I would do if I was in a casino. I'd walk up and just go, "Hey, what you got for anytime touchdown on Sam Laporta? Thank you. Give me $1 back when I win."
Anytime. Let's see. Anytime touchdown scorer on.
It can't be good.
Plus
odds.
120.
Yeah. Okay.
Bet 100, make 120. Let's go. I'd do it. I'd do it.
Free money. Because I don't think there's any way it doesn't happen.
I would probably also go over 259.5 for Baker Mayfield. That feels low. Might go under 283.5 for Jared Goff too. Which, if you know how I work with prop bets, because I don't make prop bets usually, that means you should go under on Baker and over on Jared Goff.
Gotcha.
Because that's usually how that goes.
Yes. I actually would be on both of those, I believe.
Andrew Ayers is planting his flag on the Bucks.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
If it's 7, he'd bet his house on the Bucks.
I would.
Plus 7. I mean, you keep it within the spread. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
It's risky.
Personally.
Yeah, no, it's risky. All right, moving on.
Yes.
Next game.
That's all I got for that one.
All right, next game. Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens.
I'm the only one that thinks this number is stupid.
The Baltimore Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite.
9.5 feels like a lot.
It does. Are you on Houston plus the 9.5?
Oh, I mean, look, Baltimore minus 9.5 feels like a ton of points. And for that reason, I'm on Baltimore minus 9.5.
Not backing off the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm not, and it's really the death by 1,000 paper cuts. You got you're missing so many guys for Houston. No Noah Brown that takes another weapon out. I just feel like Baltimore's going to try to neutralize the running game, make C.J. Stroud beat them, without one of his favorite targets. I mean, and they have a lot of them. I'm more worried about that Houston defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to keep Lamar in the pocket. And I'm not so sure you can. The team's so young.
Yep.
Look, they can play with their hair on fire, and if there's any game that I look at and go, all right, if you tell me I was wrong, one of these games, I would feel pretty sure it was Houston covers, but Baltimore wins.
I hope you're right about that because I'm going Houston plus the 9.5.
Hey, look at this guy.
Look, I'm not a betting man, and I'm not saying they're going to win. To me, that's too many points. And I get Baltimore's just beating the crap out of everybody, and they are that good. Something about Baltimore when it comes playoff time. This game's going to be closer than you want it to be. It'll be uncomfortable for longer than you want it to be.
So Havoc in our YouTube chat said, Jeremy, are you sure considering Lamar's playoff performances? That's why I like Baltimore here. Because Lamar's heard that over and over and over and over again. And this is a defense that I think he can take advantage of.
Yep.
Look for Zay Flowers to have a big old biggin. No Mark Andrews. He won't be up. No Marlon Humphrey.
Oh, have they already made that decision?
They've already made the decision.
Dang.
They will not be bringing up Mark Andrews this week.
Man, I was really hoping.
Assumption is if they won, he could play next week.
They're just as dangerous with Isaiah Likely, so it doesn't really.
I wouldn't say as dangerous, but they're dangerous enough.
Okay. There you go. Over-under is 43.5. I'm over on that one.
Zay Flowers over 50.5 receiving yards, too, by the way. Over on the 43.5, I am, too. I feel like that's a markedly safer bet, which is funny because Vegas, 90% of the money under. Just trying to do everything that doesn't make sense because it's the playoffs. I see what you're doing there. I'm not going with you, but I see what you're doing there. And it's going to be cold.
Oh, is it? I haven't even checked the weather.
Cloudy there's no snow or rain or anything like that, but it is going to be cold.
28 degrees is what it says here on the little capsule. Okay. All right. Give me, I did this last week and I missed out on it, so give me Dalton Schultz with the anytime touchdown.
I get it.
And then,
before we go any further, Patrick Holt asked, any watch parties this weekend? And hopefully Tank by proxy, he may be in Tennessee.
Maybe.
That's his. Their goal is, hey, we're going to go to Tennessee this weekend because apparently he doesn't have Twitter. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're going to try to set up the mobile setup to get ready for the Senior Bowl. If we can make it work, I'll do one from my house. If he wants to jump on it, he's more than welcome to.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on that. That's why you should follow us on social medias.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if it works or not.
If he can help me remotely figure out how to make it work, then I'll join.
Yeah, here's your role. Click on Zoom.
I don't think I can do that.
You're not wrong.
It's too much.
Click on Zoom.
You're asking too much.
That's what you would have to do.
Oh, yeah. All right, next. Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers. Save the best for last. 49ers, Packers, I honestly don't. I'm not buying into it. I'm not buying into the Jordan Love thing. You know, I've been head over heels for San Francisco all year long. Nothing has made me stray from that, right? They're healthy. There's no reason for me to doubt this. And I think the schemes are going to match up, or the scheme matches up pretty well for San Francisco. And I will take San Francisco,
right,
minus the 9.5.
I'm going to take everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tweak it just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying into this. All right, I've been down on Brock Purdy all year long. I don't think this team's as good as you think they are. 9.5 to me is stupid, especially in a game where it's going to be raining. I'm not telling you Green Bay wins. I think this game is close. I don't trust Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs. I never have. And I don't know. There's something about Green Bay that it's the same thing as Baltimore. It's the same thing as Houston. The problem is Houston catches Baltimore. Then I catch a San Francisco team that I don't believe in. Because, look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it unequivocally. I've said this, and I'm going to say it again. I will take whoever comes out of the NFC, and I will take whoever comes out of the AFC, and I will give you 2 touchdowns of whoever that is against whoever comes out of the NFC. The NFC sucks. And I think it's going to be on full display. because Green Bay is hot. San Francisco's on a week of rest. I don't love Brock Purdy. I have a weird feeling this game's going to be closer than people think. And money in Vegas, dead split. 50-50 down the line.
That's
50-50 on the spread, 50-50 on the money line, 50-50 on the tickets.
Really?
First game all year that I've been able to say that about.
Wow. It does shock me. I get what you're saying about San Francisco blowing in the playoffs. Not this round. That's next round. We wait for one more step for that. I don't see a way Green Bay's going to stop Christian McCaffrey. And especially if you tell me it's going to be raining and it's going to be gross weather, I'm going to like that running game that much more for San Francisco. And I get Aaron Jones has come on for Green Bay, but that's a strong running game, a heavy running game scenario is way more of a problem to me for Green Bay than it is for San Francisco.
Stephen Tao asked a really good question in the YouTube chat. Does Vegas have goal fixtures on this one? Yeah, and let me tell you why. Because they set the number in a place that the action's at 50-50. Because they don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
They've been higher on Green Bay all year long than anybody else. Green Bay's the team that every week when we looked at the Vegas Power Rankings, we were mocking them.
Yes.
Because I don't think they ever fell past 14.
No, they were pretty high most of the time.
They're doing this on purpose because they don't know. Could it be a San Francisco blowout? Sure. Could it be a Green Bay win? Sure. And so they're trying to catch 50-50 and to live on the vig because they feel that good about everything else. And based on the numbers I'm seeing, I don't disagree.
Over or under 50.5? Under. Okay. I'm on the over.
90% of the money is too.
Because I think there will be points scored, but San Francisco will get the better of it.
I don't. I think this game's going to be like 21-17. Not only am I taking the under, I don't think we get within 2 touchdowns of the spread.
Really?
The over-under, I looked at that number and laughed out loud.
Okay.
Then as soon as the rain forecast came in, I laughed harder. And I thought, this will bottom out. No, never did.
Never moved.
Came down half a point, I think, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay, final game of the weekend, 6:30 on Sunday night.
Oh, by the way, before we move into that game, when 90% of the money's on one side and Vegas never comes off the line, that should tell you everything you need to know. That means Vegas is sitting here going, we're good. This is going to be a big old biggin for us.
Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills.
It's so hard for me to say that I'm going to pick against Kansas City out loud. And then I think about it real hard and realize, this ain't Kansas City. And I will very confidently say, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Where do they have the advantage?
Kansas City doesn't have pass catchers. This is on the road. We've never seen Pat Mahomes on the road in the playoffs. And I heard, I think it was the Fox guys this morning say this. The only time we've ever seen Pat Mahomes play a road game in the playoffs was the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, and he was terrible. That wasn't actually a road game. It was in Tampa Bay Stadium, but Kansas City had the same access to tickets Tampa Bay did. He was awful. Awful. One of the only games I can say that about him in his entire career. I don't think this is the same team.
And why was he awful? Do you remember?
Pass rush.
Exactly.
Pass rush ate his lunchbox.
Exactly. And I think it's going to do it again. I fought myself on this as hard as I possibly could, and I felt like I got to stop myself from doing something dumb. Now, you can easily make the case that Kansas City's going to win this game because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid and all the things that we always say about them. I've told you I don't believe that, this is Buffalo's best chance to win. But it kind of is. This is the best chance they've had to beat Kansas City and get over that hump, right? We talk about paths to exercising the demons in the NFL, and this stacks up as Buffalo's time to finally get over the hump, to beat that one. And remember, how many times did Brady and Manning have to go at each other before Manning finally got the better of it in the playoffs?
I'll go a step further. I have heard there was going to be a weird NFL head coaching job open potentially all season long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking from week 6 on.
Mm-hmm.
If the Buffalo Bills lose this game at home, it's Sean McDermott. I don't care that you rallied at the end of the year.
Right.
You ain't the guy.
Right.
And I saw somebody said it in the YouTube chat. It was a Gambit fan. If the Bills lose, I never want to hear about this rivalry ever again. It's Kansas City forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the point. And I think the Pagulas would say the exact same thing.
Yep.
You're never going to beat them. You're getting outcoached by Andy Reid every single time we do this.
Yes.
And I have to tap out.
Yep. I think it's a chance for Buffalo to go. My heart says Kansas City, but my head says it's got to be Buffalo's time. So I'm on Buffalo minus the 3 along with you. 45.5 over or under.
I'm not sure that the over-under is not harder than. I'm going to go under, and I don't feel great about it.
Okay, I'm going on the opposite side of you. I'm going over. That was my first call, and I'm sticking with it.
It's going to be so cold, and I just see Kansas City kicking field goals, just like they did against Miami. The only difference is you're going up against a team that can score on you. So if you do that, as they did over and over again in the wild card round, Buffalo's going to get you. But that doesn't make it a high-scoring game.
Yeah, Buffalo's got to get the takeaways as well to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be an awesome weekend of football. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be daily draft time. What are the biggest position groups, most important position groups in this coming divisional round of the playoffs?
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
The cold continuing to ooze on in now this afternoon. Wind chill advisory. That'll be in effect through tomorrow as the winds are going to rip maybe to 35-plus miles per hour this afternoon, and temperatures are going to continue to fall low to mid-20s later. Tonight, 8 above. Some of the normally colder spots will be, and there'll still be snow flying around the mountains. By the way, there is a winter weather advisory in the hill towns. Wind chills below 0. That's what's really the impact here tomorrow. Sunshine, cold, windy, high only 20. Wind chills still below 0. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Renewal by Anderson's here.
Kickstart the new year with this incredible deal. Buy one window or door and get the second for 40% off. Act now to schedule your free, no-obligation, in-home consultation with my team at freewindowassessment.com. That's freewindowassessment.com.
Sandstone Health and Rehabilitation wishes to thank every team member from our 18 locations for their incredible dedication to our residents in 2023. Cheers to 2024 and continuing to build a career with purpose by providing compassionate care for all.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees or shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue, and QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC has tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again. Get your life back. And listen, it's non-surgical. If this is the year you decide to fight back against the pain, take the first step now. Call QC Kinetics. Get a free consultation on the calendar today. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Start learning a new language today at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is time for the Daily Draft. And today's Daily Draft, position groups. What are the most important position groups in the divisional round of the playoffs, Jeremy? I know you like breaking this down, so you can just whip my tail at this, but I'm going to go first because name's on the door. This is my time to use that.
Undermine.
Well, I mean, come on.
And yes, in theory, it could be alphabetical. But is it, though?
With my number one pick, most important position group in this weekend.
Now, before you select this, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Yep.
I'm going to go full Kanye West here. I'm going to let you finish.
Okay.
If there's one position group that if you don't take it right here, I'm going to outwardly mock you.
Okay.
Because to me, there's one that is 1, 2, and 4.
Is it the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yes.
Wide receivers and tight ends.
I would have stopped at wide receivers, but yes.
Just pass catchers.
We'll go old PCs.
Yeah, pass catchers in general. Catch the freaking ball. It's so frustrating to see Patrick Mahomes, and we can watch it and go, I could have caught that, right? Because it hit him right in the hands. They have dropped 44 passes?
Well, that sounds high. I think that's on the high side. It takes out catchability and all the things. I think the NFL stat's 36.
Okay.
I believe that's the official stat. I could be wrong.
I'm quoting the Sporting News here, so take it for what you will.
That's kind of like saying I'm quoting the Washington Post.
Maybe the wide receivers have dropped 36?
But
then
that's
as
possible.
a group, the pass catchers have dropped 44 because Travis Kelce, we talked about it. We know who she is. We don't need to say her name, but we know what the problem
the question is, can he shake it off? Because the hater's going to hate.
You had to do it. You had to go there.
It's funny. It's funny for me. That's you know why I did it? Name's on the door, and it's funny to me.
Catch the ball. If Patrick Mahomes is going to win his first ever road playoff game, you're going to have to catch the ball.
Well, there was only one argument that you could have posed that would have made me not say that was the number one pick here, and that was if you looked me in the face and said, I don't think it matters if they catch or not, because this is Pat Mahomes on the road, something we have never seen in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter because Buffalo's just going to beat them whether they show up or not. I do not believe that to be the case.
Okay. I do not.
But had you said that, I would have gone, okay. If you went, Tampa Bay linebackers, Homer.
Yeah, no.
That would have been the only because this is the biggest game of the weekend to me.
No doubt. And it's the closest one of the weekend. Come on. There's not one that's closer. There might be some
There's one that's as close.
Okay.
Which will play into one of my selections here momentarily. But, okay, I'll give you that. There's not one that's closer.
Yes.
And I look at Kansas City and go, if you give me the same thing you gave me last week, Buffalo's going to beat your brains out. Because you're going into their house. There's going to be snowballs flying out of the crowd. Andy Reid's mustache is going to be freezed over again. And you'll get dog walked.
Yeah.
You come in against Buffalo the way you did against Miami on the road, and you will get dog walked. So I agree with you. That was my number one selection as well. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
Now, the question is, how many of my next 4 do you get? Because I'm a little curious to see that one. Because my next one is I almost don't know how to phrase this outside of how I'm going to phrase it. I'm going to say the edge players for the Houston Texans. And here's why I say that. it's not just getting heat on Lamar Jackson. It's keeping him in the damn pocket. Because if you let him get to that second level with that inexperienced defense, he is going to eat you for lunch. You have to make him one-dimensional. Now, whether that one – you're not going to stop him completely. This team's too young. Schematically, this is not great. And D'Amico Ryans and Robert Saleh, my coach, they run practically mirror images schemes of each other. And let me just go ahead and tell you that running quarterbacks have annihilated this scheme over the years. And that's what scares me. I think Houston is maybe the most dangerous team against Baltimore because they can do the one thing consistently that Kansas City and Buffalo can't, which is I've got a lot of receivers. I've got a lot of dudes, and it's not just one guy that's going to beat you. In Kansas City, I'm worried of Rashee Rice. I'm worried of Travis Kelce. In Buffalo, I'm worried of Dalton Kincaid. I'm worried of Stephon Diggs. Once you get to 3, not so much. 3 in Houston can hurt your feelings. 4 in Houston can hurt your feelings. And 5 in Houston is probably Devin Singletary. That's where I look at Baltimore and go, you could be vulnerable here. Because the talent in that secondary is not as good as everybody thinks. The front 7 covers up for that because Justin Madubuike has been so good. Patrick Queen's been so good. The problem is that if you get behind and they do to you what I'm trying to say you have to do to Baltimore, you will get crushed. If you turn this into the same thing that the New York Jets did to Houston, which is we get out in front, we start neutralizing a couple of your receivers. In the Jets' case, they didn't so much neutralize them as the injuries did. And then Sauce against John Mechie. Yeah, I don't think you had much of a great chance of winning that. But if I turn you into a team that's one-dimensional, and C.J. Stroud has to do this by himself, this turns into a water ride from an amusement park. You will get beat. You may get slaughtered. So for me, that's the biggest one. Can Will Anderson get home routinely? Can Jonathan Grenard get home consistently? Christian Harris, sending him on some linebacker blitzes. The thing with Baltimore is that it is dangerous to do that because what happens back behind you? That's always the question you have to ask with Lamar. Okay, I can get there. Can I get him down? And if I don't get him down, what happens?
Right.
So you got to set that edge, make sure he stays in the pocket, or you got to neutralize him down the field. I don't think you can do both.
Can he routinely beat Morgan Moses?
I think so. I think that's the one that I look at and go, that's the one that I think you can take advantage of.
And I think he's fast enough and he's agile enough and aware enough to bounce outside.
Well, the question with Houston is this team, and this is always taken as a slight, and it's really not a slight, is this team too young and too dumb to know what they don't know? Do you just come in here with your hair on fire because you have no fear? That can be a positive. It can also be a negative. So, to me, that's probably the most interesting game of the weekend. I'm not telling you it's the closest. Styles make fights, and the styles of that fight are really interesting to me.
Okay.
My number 2 is, and I'm going to take this because I know you will take it if I don't. It's the secondary for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Jared Goff can hurt your feelings. And he's doing it with Josh Reynolds in addition to Amon-Ra St. Brown, in addition to Sam Laporta, in addition to Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's my curiosity, is can you shut down any of this? Tampa Bay's been bad against tight ends. Tampa Bay's been bad against players that come out of the slot. You realize that's their 2 best players, right? I mean, if you just look at this matchup on paper, and I don't know how you feel about this, I keep looking at that line and kind of laughing. Are you really that beholden to the most recent thing you just saw? I've already seen this game. This already happened, and you got beat, what, 20 to 3?
20 to 6.
20 to 6.
Yeah.
Well, I watched a lot of it, and I watched back some of the tape this week. It felt like 46 to 6 because you never threatened. You never really appeared to be able to stop Detroit, and they're better now than they were then. And if Carlton Dean or Carlton Dean, I combine them into it. That was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, wasn't it?
He's doing the Carlton.
Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis.
There you go.
If either one of you don't put your big boy pants on this week, it could get ugly, and it could get ugly in a hurry. And Baker Mayfield can be as mad at C.J. Gardner-Johnson as he wants to be. He was right. If they had a real-life big boy quarterback, Tampa Bay would be terrifying.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't.
I mean, he wasn't right. I mean, Russell Gage has not played for us all season, and that was the point. Baker was ignoring the slight and just bone up. Watch some more tape. Russell doesn't play for us.
Yeah, that's not the point. That was the
point he wanted to make. Right?
No, the point he wanted to make was, I am a big boy quarterback because I'm Baker Mayfield and I'm awesome. And then you screwed up and said the wrong name. If you had said Trey Palmer, okay, how you coming back at that? I dare you. Because actually we already played you once, and I swear it looked like a fan won a contest to come out here and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Tampa's going to have any hope, the secondary's got to step up and make some plays, right? And the only one in the secondary that really can step up and make plays or has stepped up and made plays is Antoine Winfield Jr. And I mean, if he can force a turnover with a good hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you're going to get him once. Right?
My fear with Winfield is that you're going to have to play up against the run because I don't think you're going to stop them running the ball as well as you usually do because Vita Vea doesn't have a mismatch. If I double team him, he's going to the sideline because I got Frank Ragnow. I've got all these gigantic hog mollies.
Yeah, that's a huge matchup.
I will annihilate him if I'm allowed to double team him.
Yes. All right, Tampa Bay secondary. Okay, all right. I guess it's because I don't expect us to win that I didn't have us high on this list.
I took a shot there because I knew you either had them too high or you had them too low.
Yeah.
They were my 5.
That's a good one.
I'm not really worried that you're going to take the 2 that are in between.
Okay. That is a good pick. My next biggest concern, and I'll use the line that you like to use. I get my 1 and my 2 here, is the San Francisco secondary. Like, they've been doing well, right? Played well against the Rams. Yeah, and your pass rush did really well against the Commanders, so they weren't able to do much against you. You've been able to mitigate pretty much everybody you played, but this is what? This is a bit of a bigger threat, maybe, than you faced.
No doubt. Green Bay's got a lot of toys.
And here's the thing. San Francisco plays a lot of zone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to play into their favor against Jordan Love. Because we've seen that he doesn't do that well against zone.
He did against Dallas.
Yeah, but
I'll be honest with you, that narrative has kind of changed over the last handful of weeks.
Yeah, but they didn't really do it a lot. And it got them out of their comfort zone.
Well, and that's one of the things that I think you have to look at with Jordan Love is that you do have Matt LaFleur, who is all right. So I'm going to go on a little tangent here for about 30 seconds, so just give me a little platitude here. Yes, Jordan Love has been better than we thought. We've already said that. We've already gone over that. We've beat that horse to death this week.
Mm-hmm.
But do you realize why? It's because Matt LaFleur has done an unbelievable job of tendency breaking. Oh, you want to play zone against me? Cool. I have like 8 zone breakers in my bag, and I have beaten this into Jordan Love's head for the last 6 months, and he's gotten better at it over time. Now, the question is, what do you do outside of that? My biggest question in San Francisco, Green Bay, and I'll be honest with you, I think this game's way closer than other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do buy into Green Bay, and I don't buy into San Francisco nearly as much as the rest of you do.
Is this the one that you were referencing that is as close as the other one?
One of them. It's one of them. I don't think any of them are blowouts. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of these games are blowouts, and if you told me one was, it would be Baltimore.
I would agree.
That's the only one I look at and go, that has blowout potential.
I really do agree. Well, I mean, there's blowout potential in our game, but you'll know, right? You'll know at the end of the first quarter. If that's 17-0 at the end of the first quarter, that's going to end up being 33-3.
Yes. You need to really not get behind.
Oh, absolutely.
If you get behind, you're in trouble deep.
We'll see what that defense can do.
So when you said San Francisco, I'm not going to lie, I went, oh, shoot.
And then I picked the wrong one.
And then you picked the wrong position group. We'll get to that in just a minute.
All right. To me, the secondary and the game plan is going to be very, very important. But here's the thing. Continue to do what you do and don't get burned. Don't let things break down. because I think that's what we're learning about Jordan Love is when things break down and he can play on the fly, he can burn you.
There's another thing to that, but that'll be my next selection because I don't think you're taking San Francisco back-to-back.
No, but I am going to stay in the same game, and I'm going to go to the opposite side of the ball. It's the Green Bay wide receivers. I want these playmakers. What? I did it again?
Mm-hmm. You sure did.
I think the Green Bay wide receivers are very, very important in this game because I need you to keep making plays. Mm-hmm. You've been doing that, so I'm not concerned that you won't.
That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what the San Francisco secondary is going to do. I know pretty well what the receivers are going to do. I've got so damn many of them. All right, Jaden Reed had as many catches as I did last week. Romeo Doubs picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Dontavian Wicks could pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker Kraft could pick it up. Luke Musgrave could pick it up. Aaron Jones could pick it up. Christian Watson, who, by the way, is the one, and I do see the irony that he was the 7th guy that I just named. I'm not worried about those two things. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on that's going to be good. The 49ers secondary is going to play back a little bit. And that's what lends me to I think you have the wrong matchups on both sides of this.
Okay.
Because my two picks are the San Francisco 49ers defensive line and the Green Bay Packers running backs. What has changed so vehemently with Jordan Love? Outside of the zone breakers, the tendency breakers that I already talked about, what's changed so drastically with Jordan Love?
Aaron Jones.
I'm getting ready. That's half of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a stat that may or may not blow your mind. If you told me how many sacks Jordan Love took in this game, I'll bet you I could get the score right. And if not, I could do it pretty close. Here's why I say that. In games that Jordan Love was sacked 3 or more times, here were his QBRs. 58, 39.3, 19.1, 6.1. 2 by itself. That was 3. What I just said was 3 or more. 2 by itself. 51.9, 54.7, 90.5, 17.8. 2 is the line of demarcation. That's where I really think you see what Jordan Love is, which is really high highs, really low lows. Now let's discuss what happens when it's 1 or less. 73.6, 82, 90.1, 89.7, 72.4, 83, 47.9, 80.4, 79.3. Do you realize that he's damn near elite in every game that you don't sack him 2 or more times? Almost every time. And the only one time that it didn't happen, the only time he was below 50 was against the Saints. Against the Saints, who harassed him a lot, he threw an interception, and he had a fumble. If that line gets to him, Green Bay's toast. Now, here's the part I didn't tell you. How many times has he been sacked in the last 4 weeks? Total.
5.
Twice.
That's it?
Once against Carolina, once against Chicago. That's it. He hasn't been dusted since. And if Green Bay can do that same thing. Now, look, that was against Carolina, whose pass rush left a little bit to be desired. Minnesota, who's left a lot to be desired. Chicago's, who wasn't terrible, and Dallas had been pretty good all year. They've done it against very different schemes. They've done it against very different talent levels. If they do it against San Francisco, they're cooked.
Mm-hmm.
If they do that against San Francisco, and I'm telling you this right now, if he's sacked 1 or less times against San Francisco, I give them a 95% chance of winning this game.
Really?
If it's 2, it's a straight toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 3 or more, it's 0.00001.
Really?
That is the deciding factor of this game.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay. Pass rush.
Because that's what's changed. As I went back, that's what's changed. I'm getting railed on social media because, oh, you're stupid about Jordan Love. Let that offensive line atrophy and see. And I want you to do the same thing I did, which is have the huevos to leave your stance on social media and see how yours ages. This is a cohesive effort. It's worked for Jordan Love, and he's getting all the praise, but I feel like the line is getting dude upon.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like Aaron Jones is not getting his due because he has been special over the last handful of weeks. And if he's special again, it's just kind of a multiplier to what I just said. Mm-hmm. Here's my fear. I don't think he will be. because Steve Wilks is a guy that I have never given a lot of flowers to. I've never given a lot of credit to because I don't think he's a good defensive coordinator. But he is good at one thing. He's very Belichickian in that he's going to take away one element of your offense. I can't take away all of your receivers. You know what I can do? I can put 6 and 7 and 8 in the box. I can send the hellhounds at you. And I can make Jordan Love beat me. And that is why that, to me, is the toughest game to pick. Because I think Green Bay has the scheme, they have the talent, they have the momentum, all of the things to win this game. San Francisco also has the talent to blow you out. And that is what makes this so hard for me. Mm-hmm. It is so hard for me. And it's why it's the most interesting game of the weekend to me.
It is a very hard game.
This one, Baltimore, Houston. These are the two, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. Because your game interests me almost zero.
Really?
Almost zero.
Really?
If you told me I didn't watch a snap of a playoff game, short of me getting my leg cut off by a miter saw, I'd guarantee it was yours.
Right.
Because I'm not sure that I'm going to get to the point on over the weekend where I go, yeah, let's really lock in for 3 hours of Lions-Bucks.
Just because the history's not there, you think it's going to be a blowout?
I don't think you're good. I've not thought you're good, and beating the god-awful Philadelphia Eagles is not really changing that.
No, it shouldn't.
I mean, here's the thing. 2 weeks ago, I watched you get just completely embarrassed by the New Orleans Saints.
Yes, you did.
I ain't forgot that.
Nor should you. And nor should they. All right, my next selection, I'm going to go back to the Kansas City game.
By the way, I feel like I played that perfectly because I had written down on my sheet over here, watch for him to take Green Bay and San Francisco and not take what I'm talking about. Right. Not because I think you're wrong. I'm looking at this from the coach perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can do about their receivers. There's nothing I can do about my secondary. But if I heat up Jordan Love, does he revert back to what he was? And if I take Aaron Jones away, does he turn back to what he was? It basically all falls at the lap of Jordan Love.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Let's see. Next one, like I said, I'm going to go back to the Kansas City game.
Which, by the way, that's a game that doesn't interest me nearly as much as it should.
I don't know why. Do you just have that little faith in the receivers? The Kansas City's going to drop one here? Are you a no-doubter?
It's not a no-doubter, but I will say this. I feel better about Buffalo than I feel about practically any other team this weekend.
I don't feel.
I have a spicy hot take at the end of this show that I haven't said it yet.
Yeah.
And I've willfully avoided it because I have a spicy hot take at the end of the show.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with the Kansas City pass rush.
Okay.
You need to get after Josh Allen, right? You need to be able to try to mitigate what he can do. You're not in the same scenario, I guess, as with Lamar Jackson, right? You were talking earlier about trying to contain him and all that. Look, if you show up to tackle, you'll be okay. You'll avoid the 57-yard touchdown run that hit Pittsburgh.
My fear with Kansas City is that you could get home on Josh Allen. You could hit him pretty routinely. I don't trust your offense enough to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. If you told me Pat Mahomes got the ball 3 times from the 35 in, how many points is going to come with that? Because I could easily see it being 9.
Right. Could be.
I watched you do it against Miami, and in terms of defenses, this ain't close. One of them has a corner and no pass rushers. Buffalo has a handful of corners that are all pretty much the same guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kyer Elam can get cooked, but I got a slew of pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've got a good offensive line, but you still have Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about Kansas City. Because Buffalo, I believe, will be able to get pressure, and Pat's going to have to figure out how to deal with that. I couldn't take a quarterback in this, so I couldn't take Pat or Josh because I would have wanted to take both of them. But the pass rush has to be able to get home, make Josh uncomfortable for this to work, right? To create the turnovers that you're going to need provide more opportunities because your offense has sputtered so much. I need as many opportunities as possible. Light Josh Allen up, and he will give you the ball. I promise. And then, you know, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Houston pass catchers.
That's a good one. That was low-key one that I was planning on taking.
That Baltimore defense has been just crazy good.
It's a lot of it's scheme, and a lot of it's making use of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike McDonald's done a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm. But
taking raw talent and turning it into a real scheme and making it a real problem.
Right. And, you know, we've seen CJ be good. We've seen these receivers be good. Every single one that comes around, they fill a role and they find a way. I need everybody on top of their game because they are going to blow us out if we cannot score. Because we can't stop them. Our defense will not be able to stop them to any great degree. We're not keeping them to 13 points.
I would agree with that.
So I need everybody on their game because the injuries have piled up, right? I got no Tank. Obviously been without him for a while. Noah's now on the IR, isn't he?
Yes.
So Nico's got to do his thing, and everybody's got to fill their roles. Brevin Jordan, make some plays.
You've left me with really no option but to double up on one team.
Okay.
Buffalo Bills pass catchers not named Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Bills linebackers. Bills linebackers was the one that was my dirty little secret that I had a feeling you were never going to take.
Mm-hmm.
They're my two.
Really?
Who's up for Buffalo this week, definitively? Well, Matt Milano's on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Balin Spector's questionable. Terrell Bernard's questionable. Terrell Dotson's questionable. Do you realize what that leaves them with?
Wait, Bernard survived?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's questionable to play.
Wow. Good for him.
It was an ankle sprain.
I thought it was going to be worse.
I did too. Especially when I think they put it in an air cast, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility that you have one linebacker that has played any level of snaps for you. And if that is the case, it mitigates what you said about Kansas City pass catchers. It mitigated what you said about that because I can run it down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have anything but Dorian Williams in that linebacking core, my whole game plan just changed. And I don't know who's going to play. I have no idea. I just know they're all listed on the official injury report as questionable. If none of them play, you should really assume they are going to run Isaiah Pacheco over and over and over and over again because they'll take it out of the pass catcher's hands. I mean, that's what I would do. If I'm Andy Reid and I'm looking at this going, you're the most consistent linebacker you have on the field is a rookie, and then a bunch of practice squad guys is what's going to be around him. Yeah, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yep. And
I'm going to take this little dude that runs like his hair's on fire and runs angry, and I'm going to run right at you until you prove you can stop me.
Yep.
And that's where the other side of that coin comes in. I feel pretty good that Kansas City is not going to allow Stephon Diggs to beat them. I feel pretty good that they're not going to allow Dalton Kincaid to beat them. I feel like somebody has to step up. I don't know if Gabe Davis is going to play. He's questionable going into this game. I'm looking at Khalil Shakir. I'm looking at Trent Sherfield. I'm looking at Deontay Hardy. One of you is going to have to make a play if Gabriel Davis doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to. It was
and
Shakir last week. Shakir was good last week.
Well, Hardy made a big play last
Hardy
week.
had a big play.
Sherfield had the big, helmet touchdown the week before. So, I mean, they are making plays.
But you're going to have to do it more consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pat's going to score points even without high-level pass catching. Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco is enough that he's going to score points.
Yes.
You're going to have to meet that in kind. And I think those ancillary pieces are so important.
Mm-hmm.
James Cook, so important. By the way, look for him to hit a big play in this game. Just, it's one of those that I feel it in my subcockles, because you got the cockles of your heart, and then there's the subcockles, which is like right below that.
Right, that's where all the McRib goes.
Correct. It's actually basically just a McRib that sits directly underneath my heart, which will one day probably kill me.
Oh, no doubt.
That's where I'm feeling James Cook rips off a big play, busted coverage, gets behind a linebacker. Kansas City gets cute, tries to send pressure, and they end up with Nick Bolton on James Cook out of the backfield, and they just go, we're out.
Yep.
Because I've seen them do it all year long.
All right, last pick here. I will take one from my game. I'll take the Tampa Bay offensive line. It's gonna be you're gonna have to have a huge game, right? You guys have been playing above.
You narrowed that. You could have narrowed that down to one dude.
Well, I mean, look, I get it, you're not going to be able to stop Aiden Hutchinson, right? He is the animal in the room, and he is going to break the record, or not break the record, but tie the record, right? He's trying to get 4 games in a row with multiple sacks. That's hard to do. Only 3 guys have done it in history. But the offensive line is going to have to provide some kind of protection for Baker Mayfield, because I think there are holes in that defense that you'll be able to. They will be able to find holes in the passing game.
Well, I mean, Detroit just lives. They have abided by this theory of you're not going to beat us with the run.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put it on your quarterback. We know we're going to give up some big plays, but then we're going to get in the red zone. We're going to bend. We're not going to break, and you're going to kick field goals. And then our offense is going to get on the field, score really quick, score really efficiently, and you're not going to be able to keep up that way.
Mm-hmm. Might hit one big play. Couldn't hit a big play the last time you played them, but maybe Tampa can hit one big play. Maybe make it interesting. I'm not expecting much, but the offensive line's going to have to be on their game if we want to have any type of a prayer. All right, Daily Draft in the books. We will return with a Football Friday here on ESPN Asheville after this.